There isn't an island of trash in the middle of the Pacific. The truth is far, far worse. I know, because I just spent 14 days living on it. Or more accurately, living in it. I went out there expecting to find a floating continent of plastic bottles and shopping bags. A solid mass you could almost walk on.
They call this
What
the
I found
Resolute,
was a disease in
but
the
look
water.
closely. The sea isn't the sea anymore. It's just a thick soup of microplastics and debris.
A churning, soupy, plastic smog stretching beyond the horizon in every direction. This is the story of that expedition. But it's not just about the plastic. By the end of this journey, you will understand that the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is not a remote environmental problem we can simply clean up. It's a mirror.
They call it controlled chaos. But looking at all this plastic,
And what it
sometimes
reflects
feels
about
like
is our
we're losing the
consumption,
battle.
our distance from consequence, and the psychological weight of our own waste. Is the most terrifying discovery of all.
We can no longer turn a blind eye to the reality reflected before us.
We've all heard the statistics.
The plastic tide. We can no
But what does
longer
it feel
turn a
like to
blind
float for
eye
2
to the
weeks?
reality reflected before us. The plastic tide is rising, and it threatens everything.
In the middle of the human footprint? That's the question we went to answer. The journey to the patch is a lie.
Out here, surrounded by the polluted sea, the MV Resolute felt less like a sanctuary.
For 6 days,
and more
we sailed
like
from port through some of the most beautiful ocean I've ever seen. Deep, pristine blue. Flying fish skittering across the waves.
The ocean is dying, choked by the very things we created. But we
The
cannot look
world
away.
felt clean, infinite. You start to believe the stories of
They
a
say it's
garbage
the
island
cleanest
are
water in the
exaggerated.
world. Funny how clean can still feel so empty.
A myth. The change, when it comes, is subtle. Our lead oceanographer, Dr. Eris Thorne, called it the transition. It wasn't a line in the water. It was a slow, sickening corruption.
Oh wow, check that out, guys. I can't believe it.
On day 7, I saw my first piece of independent debris. A single, faded water bottle, bobbing alone 1,000 miles from any shore.
The energy
An
signature
hour
on
later,
sector gamma
a
is
shattered
increasing
laundry basket.
exponentially. Zoom in here, I want a level 3 analysis on that anomaly now.
Then a fisherman's buoy. By midday, they were no longer isolated objects.
There's something in the
were
water,
constant
maybe a
companions.
mile out. It's hard to focus with the wind like this. What could it be?
The deep blue had been replaced by a film. A greasy sheen punctuated by fragments. Looking over the side of our research vessel, the Odyssey, was like staring into a snow globe someone had filled with confetti made from our civilization's trash. This is the first, brutal lesson of the garbage patch. It is not a patch. It is a presence. An atmosphere. The gyre, the system of rotating ocean currents that traps the debris, is twice the size of Texas. But you can't see its edges from a boat. You just enter it. And then you are in
I've
it.
seen spills before, but nothing like this. It's completely destroyed.
The sheer scale is a psychological blow. You feel impossibly small? And the problem feels impossibly large. Our first task was to deploy the primary collection trawl. It's a massive, specialized net system designed to skim the surface, collecting macroplastics, the larger items. The mood on the ship was tense, but optimistic. This was it. The moment of action. The winch groaned as the net, 100 meters wide, unfurled into the water. We towed it for 3 hours.
All right, team, secure
3
the port
hours of
side
moving in a
lines.
crawl
Make sure
through
the
this plastic
sensors are
suit.
fully clipped in before we lift.
Bridge, this is the deck. We are ready for deployment.
When it was time to bring it in, everyone was on deck.
Coming up on the final
The
sequence.
net came out of the
Steady.
water, heavy and sagging.
Signal stable. We have touchdown.
Confirmed deployment successful.
But not with a cartoonish haul of colorful bottles. It was sludge. A tangled mass of fishing nets, ropes, and crates, all snarled together. And woven into this mess were the ghosts of 1,000 lives. A cracked child sand bucket. The sole of a shoe. A toothbrush, its bristles worn. Every piece a story that ended right here, in this liquid desert. We sorted the haul on the deck, a grim archaeological dig. Every item was weighed, cataloged, and its origin traced where possible. The crew worked with a quiet, focused intensity. But I could see it in their eyes. The same thing I was feeling. We just pulled 2 tons of plastic from the ocean. A victory. But as I looked over the railing, the water stretching out to the curve of the earth was just as infested as before. We hadn't even made a dent.
It doesn't matter how much sleep you get out here, you're always tired.
It was like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. The first haul was full of things we could recognize. But it was what we found clinging to them.
When you deal with this much grime, you learn that some messes can never truly be wiped away.
And what the scientists
just
started
manage
pulling
them.
from their water samples. That revealed the true horror of this place.
I thought we finally made it, that the struggle was worth it. But looking back
The
now,
real
I
enemy
just
wasn't
don't
the
see
stuff
the
we could
point.
see. The deck of the Odyssey was for the big stuff. The heart of the scientific mission was in the wet lab below. Here, there were no triumphant piles of recovered trash. There were just microscopes, computers, and jars of what looked like dirty water.
This is
Dr.
the
Thorne held one up for me.
Enemy.
This, he said, swirling the cloudy liquid, is the real patch. He poured a sample into a petri dish. Under the microscope, a new universe revealed itself. Thousands upon thousands of tiny, colorful specks, like sinister grains of sand. Microplastics.
Dr. Thorne believed the answer lay hidden within the amber fluid.
These are the
A
fragments
secret
that
we
the
were
sun and the
desperate
waves
to
have broken
uncover.
down from larger items over decades. They are everywhere. They are in the water column, in the air. And, as we were discovering, in every living thing out here. This is the technical nightmare of the cleanup. The large nets work for the macroplastics, but they are useless against this plastic dust. It's too small, too pervasive. To filter it out, you'd have to use a net so fine you'd catch all the plankton and krill.
From the sunlit
The very
surface,
foundation of the marine food web.
these glowing microplastic particles are consumed by the fish and rapidly accumulate in the digestive
You'd be killing
tract,
the ocean to save
causing
it.
inflammation and blockage.
So the team's mission wasn't just to clean, but to understand. How dense are the microplastics at different depths? What types of polymers are most common? And the darkest question of all. How deeply have they infiltrated the food chain? Two days into our microplastic sampling, the ocean decided to remind us who was in charge. A squall blew in, fast and violent.
The red areas indicate alarmingly high concentrations
The
of
sea,
microplastics,
which had been a placid,
particularly
soupy surface,
within the North
turned
Pacific
into a
Gyre.
gray, churning monster. For 36 hours, we were confined below deck as the 150-foot vessel was tossed around like a toy. The storm was terrifying, but it was the aftermath that was truly demoralizing. When the seas calmed, we went on deck to find our secondary sampling boom. A complex arm used for deploying sensitive instruments had been mangled. A crucial piece of equipment, now useless. The mission's lead engineer, a woman named Lena, just stared at it, her face grim.
The table's going over!
Watch out, look alive!
That's 2 days of research lost. Two days of data we'll never get. The conflict isn't just with the plastic, it's with the environment itself. The very forces that created the patch, the wind, the waves, the currents are the same forces that fight your every attempt to study or fix it. Lena and her team worked for 18 hours straight, improvising, welding, rewiring. They scavenged parts from a decommissioned winch. They jury-rigged a solution. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. Watching them, I realized the ingenuity and resilience required for this work is staggering. Later that day, the biologists dissected a fish that had been caught in the main hull. Inside its stomach, under a microscope, they found what they were looking for. 27 individual fragments of microplastic. The same colors I saw in the water samples.
The precision
We had fixed the
required
machine,
for this
but the
restoration
ghost was
is
already
truly
inside the system.
remarkable. It's a dying art.
A different, quieter battle was starting to wear on the crew. The third lesson of the garbage patch is its psychological toll. There is no escape. You wake up, and it's there. You stand on the deck at night, under a canopy of brilliant stars. And you know that just beneath the surface, the plastic is still there. The work is repetitive.
Another night at sea.
Deploy the net. Retrieve the net.
Another day
Sort the
closer
plastic.
to the edge.
Day 47.
The initial shock gives way to a kind of
The
grinding,
view never changes.
emotional exhaustion.
Just this endless, soupy garbage patch.
The worst moments were what the crew called the heartbreakers. On day 10, we found one. A large ghost net, a fishing net lost at sea, was spotted a few hundred yards from the ship. They are the deadliest form of plastic pollution, drifting for years, entangling anything in their path. As we brought it alongside the ship, we saw it. A juvenile sea turtle, its body hopelessly wrapped in the thick mesh. It had been dead for a long time. Something shifted on the ship. The work stopped.
Push it to the left!
Everyone just stood at the railing,
Almost there, keep
looking down
going.
at this small, tragic casualty.
Watch the line!
The problem was no longer tons of inert plastic. It was this turtle. It was the albatross skeleton we found with a belly full of bottle caps. It was the crab we'd found living, grotesquely, inside a discarded plastic doll's head. That evening, I spoke with May, a young marine biologist on her first expedition. She was the one who had to officially photograph and document the turtle.
And it is here,
you read the papers,
in the
she
silent
told me,
passing of
her
this
voice
single
quiet.
creature.
You see the numbers, but you can't. Prepare for this. The consequence of their action ended up here, and we're the ones who have to witness it. Witness. That's the word that stuck with me.
May, are you all right?
They didn't despair.
We need to talk about what
they
happened out
comforted each
there.
other. And the next morning, they were back on deck, working with a renewed, almost ferocious, sense of purpose. The heartbreak wasn't a reason to quit. It was the reason they were there.
May said I was a witness.
It was the fuel.
But what exactly does that mean?
We need this beam secured on the upper level now.
Acknowledged. Move the crane up.
But that night, as we prepared for our final days in the gyre, Dr. Thorne pulled me into the data room. He showed me something on his monitor that put our entire effort into a devastating new perspective. A juvenile sea turtle, its body hopelessly wrapped in the thick
How
mesh.
much data are we talking about here, Doctor?
Terabytes every hour. This array processes everything the submersible collects in real time.
Look at the trajectory here. These aren't weather patterns. These are confirmed impact zones.
It had been dead for a long
Impact
time.
zones? Wait, is that?
Something shifted on the ship. The work stopped. Everyone just stood at the railing, looking down at this small, tragic casualty. The problem was no longer tons of inert plastic. It was this turtle. It was the albatross skeleton we'd found with a belly full of bottle caps. It was the crab we'd found living, grotesquely, inside a discarded plastic doll's head. That evening, I spoke with May, a young marine biologist on her first expedition. She was the one who had to officially photograph and document the turtle. You read the papers, she told me, her voice quiet. You see the numbers, but you can't. Prepare for this. The consequence of their action
data
ended up
confirmed
here,
my fears.
and we're the ones who have to witness it.
We're running out of time, and I don't know how to tell them.
Witness. That's the word that stuck with me. They didn't despair. They comforted each other. And the next morning, they were back on deck, working with a renewed, almost ferocious, sense of purpose. The heartbreak wasn't a reason to quit. It was the reason they were there. It was the fuel.
The weight of the journey stays with you.
But that night, as we prepared for our final days in the gyre, Dr. Thorne pulled me into the data room. He showed me something on his monitor that put our entire effort into a devastating new perspective.